Mr.
Chair.
Jackson for 5 minutes.
General Sims, good afternoon. I was wondering if you could help me paint a picture for my folks back home of what life would look like for Ukrainians were we to step aside, were we to withdraw our support, were the coalition that we lead to crumble upon our withdrawal of our support, and then were the Russians to gain a decisive advantage on the battlefield. What that would mean, and I ask you because based on your remarks, you said that the fighting has replicated the conditions that we saw during the First World War. There was a recent conversation about plentiful examples of war crimes that have been committed. And I think it's important for me in explaining my support to folks back home to give them a sense of what it would look like if our effort no longer existed. Could you help me do that, please?
So, sir, I'll leave the geopolitical conversation to what Dr. Call was mentioning earlier. And I would tell you a couple things. First would be, as an American, this is what we do. I mean, this is what we do. This is what we've fundamentally done for decades. When people are wronged, we stand up for them. And in this case, the invasion of Russia, everyone has said it was illegal. Everybody says it was wrong. And that's what we do. And in this case, we came together with the allies in Europe in a way that we haven't done, really haven't done in the past 50, 60 years. I mean, so a year ago today, so we talk about a year ago on the 24th was the invasion. A year ago today, I deployed with my division headquarters as a division commander, 1st ID, to Central Europe. And I spent a lot of time in Europe, battalion commander, brigade commander. And so I've worked a number of times with our allies. I had never worked with our allies where the desire, the intent to work together was as firm as it was in the time I was deployed. That has not changed. I've been back multiple times. We were talking earlier about the contributions of our partners. There is more than dollars, I would argue, that is part of this. We have partners that have skin in the game, and so they may not be dedicated dedicating the same percentage of GDP, but in some cases are dedicating individuals who are making critical, really important contributions to what we're doing in terms of security assistance, intelligence, working in terms of advising and training with our partners. That's what we do. We're Americans, and when somebody says this is how the world should be, and it's not, we say no. Dr. Cause talked about the rules-based order. Why is this important? Because after the Second World War, we came together with the majority of the world and said, this last 5, 10 years is not how we wish to live in the world. And we established the geopolitics that exist today. And we need to tell people, we need to do something when people go in the wrong direction. Why is it important to Americans? Because we believe in this group in here, sir, in this oversight process. I know politics. I'm an Army guy. No politics. American politics field of study at the Academy. And I would tell you, watching the oversight here, watching what has occurred in D.C., all the way to the young man or woman in Poland who's transitioning that equipment forward, to a Ukrainian who plans to use it, that's what we exist for. That's why it matters, sir.
Now, that last piece I'd like you to expand on. Could you help us visualize what it looks like when we make the decision to send them light tactical vehicles all the way to that material being fielded? Give us a sense of what that process looks like, how quickly it's now moving.
Well, sir, and as Dr. Call was talking with Representative Mace earlier, we're learning all sorts of lessons. I mean, listen, where we were a year ago today and where we are now, it's a light year's difference. It's because we have smart, capable men and women who are working to make the processes more effective and efficient. What we have done in terms of moving, it's literally, I'll say literally moving mountains. If you were to stack up all of the things that we have provided, we have literally moved mountains from not just the United States, but from places that we're working with partners around the world. And we have moved that incrementally across oceans, in the air, with hundreds and hundreds of aircraft and ships. Move that to Europe, and then it's moved further by our partners and by men and women that we all are so proud to have there, all the way to a point where a Ukrainian man or woman takes it and brings it forward to use it. And I know a number of you have seen that, sir. but it's pretty impressive.
My time is over. It has been an extraordinary logistical accomplishment on top of other accomplishments.
Chair now recognizes our